The fallout of Pat Fitzgerald as the head coach of the Northwestern Wildcats, well, it's impacted the recruiting trail for the Wisconsin Badgers. Dillan Johnson, defensive tackle out of Joliet Catholic, the famed program just southwest of Chicago. That's the place where this young man comes from. He has flipped from Northwestern over to the Badgers. Now, let's talk a little bit about him before we get into the film. I'm going to share my screen here in just a second, but a couple of things to note. Number one, Wisconsin needed more size. They needed a little more balance in their recruiting class. Dillan Johnson will give them that just on his arrival. Two, this isn't just a big-bodied player. He can be a two-gap guy if you wanted him to be in a traditional 3-4. He could grow into that. But he's also a really good one-gap, get up the field, create havoc, and make you pay for mistakes up front guy, meaning he doesn't need help from other defensive linemen or linebackers. Dillan Johnson is under-recruited, and coming out of Catholic, it's arguably the most famed program in the state of Illinois. That's a bit surprising. But again, he's 280-something right now, big body, not necessarily the tallest guy. He's probably around 6'1", maybe 6'2", but that's a traditional interior defensive lineman. One gap and go. That's where he is best. So with that, let's watch a little bit of film. You judge for yourself. What do you see with this guy? What do you like about it? Personally, I think the one thing that I like about Dillan is that he's just an aggressive football player on each and every down. That right there, he shows a pass rush move and goes through the second guy, just runs him over. Right there, little arm movement to the side, leans, shows some good flexibility. He's stymied there, but he continues to work. Gets part of a run stuff. Same deal here. Hits the guy, moves down the line. And right there, he just runs over the poor guy and buries the quarterback. Very powerful young man. Dillan Johnson is not a guy that if you get off base or use poor technique, that it's going to end up well for you. Power again. Gets a tackle. Secondary move. He got stymied at first, but got in on a hit. Watch him stay low there. Hand fights, moves laterally after contact. A lot of big guys can't do that very well. Look at him get down the line again and get part of this tackle. That's a really good sign for his flexibility and his lower body power. Look at that nice swim move. I don't advise those a lot, but I mean, if you're going to use it and you can get away with it, look out. Nice job beating the offensive lineman to the spot, gets off the block, makes the tackle. Another swim move, under, changes direction. Nice job. That's just a good slant. He just took an angle and decided he was going to go for it, and he made it all the way to the tackle. Right here's another example of good secondary effort. And then here he beats the guy right off the bat, has to change direction immediately. That's tremendous. One more play from the big guy. Power at the point, sheds, comes downhill, makes the quarterback move his feet, and then he got buried. So as you can see, Dillan Johnson's not just your average kid you would think going to Northwestern. They don't get many of those kind of kids. And this is part of the fallout from Pat Fitzgerald. It is what it is. But Wisconsin is the beneficiary. Good for the Badgers. They needed more defensive linemen if they're going to compete with the Big Three and the Big Ten, traditionally at least, until UCLA and USC arrive. But that would be Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. Those are the three programs of the last 30 years that have pretty much dominated the conference, with Michigan State, Wisconsin to a certain degree, and Iowa to a certain degree. Those other three being in there quite a bit too. If you're going to beat Ohio State or Michigan, if you're going to beat Penn State, especially like those places, their home crowds are crazy, kind of like Camp Randall, you better have a defense that you can pack with you and take on the road. Dillan Johnson's one of those guys. So that's a big pickup for Wisconsin. So make sure if you're a Wisconsin fan that you check out his film some more. I showed some right here, but that is a really good football player. Everybody have a great day.